No one saw this coming in regards to the Rams and their health situation already on day 5 of training camp. We're going to talk about a couple of unfortunate injury updates on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron. Remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor. Press the subscribe button now, as roughly 65.7% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not subscribed to the channel. Do me the favor, press the subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. And first things first, I do want to get into the first story here, as we are talking about a major player for the Rams, the team leader, the quarterback of the team, going from, hey, he's going to start practicing on Monday, July 28th. I just talked about this a couple episodes ago, that we're going to stay and talk and discuss the Matthew Stafford practicing today on Monday. Hopefully having a good practice, seeing him obviously participate with Davante Adams and Puka Nacua, and I was really excited to see some updates, right? Some great highlights coming out of training camp day 5, but unfortunately this went from, okay, he's not practicing Monday, to now he is not practicing and he's going to be week to week in terms of whether or not he's going to practice with his back injury soreness. So Rams news, Sean McVay gets stern wake-up call as Matthew Stafford's injury history sparks alarm. We are sitting discussing this conversation, and obviously, look, at the end of the day, Matthew Stafford is 37 years of age, right? And so we knew this was a potential possibility that the Rams were going to have to deal with. I just don't think anyone expected it to be already this early. It didn't really sound like we had many issues with Stafford, his injury, his health situation over the last couple months, right? We were talking about his contract. We were talking about him potentially retiring. And then, of course, coming back, signs. He's excited. Everyone's excited to have him. He seems to be out there, at least kind of like, participating in a lot of things when they were in Maui and things of that nature. And so it seemed like everything was on the right path for positive updates, and then all of a sudden we get hit with, he's not going to practice until Monday, and now he's not going to practice, he's going to be week to week. So a few days ago, Sean McVay was all chill about Matthew Stafford missing practice, no big deal at all. He indicated that Stafford's feeling good and throwing, just part of a smart plan to ease a 17-year vet back into the grind. Translation, nothing to panic about, or at least that's what he hoped, but it turns out might be time to ring the panic bells. And I don't want to panic at all. I don't want to freak out and say the season's over and ruined or anything like that. But it is kind of a wake-up call, a reminder, I think, for a lot of Rams fans to kind of notice, hey, we've been talking about this. He's 37. Is he going to be okay? He's going to be healthy. For the most part, Stafford has really been okay and healthy, generally speaking. I know he's dealt with injuries here and there, but for the most part, when the Rams need him and need him most, he kind of shows up, and he's at least did that last year, right? You saw him when it mattered most. Matthew Stafford was there and healthy and ready to play. Now we're sitting talking about this update. Matthew Stafford now week to week with back soreness. Twice in his career has had broken bones in his spine, then has had a spinal cord contusion in 2022. The Rams have chosen to make his contract go year to year recently, despite him playing well when healthy. Also, no Lark Jackson, left tackle Lark Jackson. Right now, we're talking about Rams practice, right? So, obviously, talking about the injuries, the Rams are dealing with injuries in the offensive line, dealing with age at the quarterback and injuries at quarterback. We talk about their, the right tackle, Rob Havenstein, also being an older player who dealt with injuries recently. Tyler Higbee, older player, dealing with injuries. So, ultimately, as good as the Rams are roster-wise, the reason why I'm bringing this to the forefront and the attention of hey, look, as excited as we can be about this roster, as excited as everyone really is, the health is a major concern, a major key point for the Rams this season. If they're not healthy, they're not going to win many games. And I think that's definitely something that's concerning. Again, nothing to freak out about yet, but something that we have to pay attention to. If Stafford, like Joshua Feinherr said in his video, if you guys missed it, he essentially said, hey, look, if Stafford's missing 1 week, 2 weeks, okay, cool, it is what it is. He's an older player. But if he starts to miss, up and through mid-August, if we're talking about him possibly missing week 1, which at this point is not in the cards, I'm just kind of throwing it out there. If you talk about him missing early, talk about the Rams struggling to kind of find that cohesion, that's always something that happens, right? If the team starts slow, Stafford wasn't there during training camp fully, and that's why him and Davante Adams aren't connected yet, or, him and Puka need to kind of get back on the same page again. And I don't want to have to deal with that, I think, in the beginning of the season. No one wants to deal with that in the beginning of the season. I'm sure Stafford doesn't want to deal with it. McVay doesn't want to deal with it. But ultimately, we'll have to see how it goes week-to-week basis. We'll have to wait and see what Matthew Stafford looks like when he's back out there. And when he gets back out there, definitely something we're going to keep an eye on over the next week or so. Hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. Something to note, injuries are a concern for this team. And we're talking about injuries. There's another injury concern, right? When we're talking about this time, we're just talking about Matthew Stafford, a veteran on the team, a 17-year vet, 37-year-old player. We're also talking about a young player, a rookie now, dealing with injuries in his own right. So Pooh Paul, for those who don't know, Chris Pooh Paul Jr., that is his nickname, Pooh. You guys will hear a lot of people refer to him as Pooh. He suffers a calf injury, so he's missing key time for Los Angeles Rams in training camp. Obviously, when we're talking about Chris Paul Jr., he's definitely a player that we discussed. Hey, look, the Rams didn't really touch linebacker, didn't really seem to think that was an important thing to address necessarily in free agency, so they went out in the draft, drafted Chris Paul Jr., who everyone says is a good value pick in the 5th round, but you're not talking about value picks, right? I talk about this over and over again. The Rams need him to play well because they don't really have linebackers behind him to kind of step in and play in that role. You're talking about Omar Speights, talking about Nate Landman. Those are probably your starting inside linebackers who are going to play heavy big time role for you on defense. Chris Paul Jr. needs to be that third option to kind of sub in and out throughout the year. And so far, he's missing some key time right now, right? Maybe he was going to beat out Nate Landman, right, at some point this offseason. Right now, that's going to be tough as he's going to start behind, a little bit behind in terms of where everyone else is at since he's missing some practices already. So Los Angeles Rams head coach Sean McVay told reporters after practice that rookie and former Ole Miss Rebels linebacker Chris Paul Jr. is dealing with a calf injury and is sidelined as a result. McVay added that Paul, who was selected by the Rams in the 5th round as the 172nd overall pick, is someone the staff is being smart with. So obviously when coaches and media people are saying, hey, look, they're just being smart here. Of course, they are not trying to get a player injured, have a long-term nagging injury. It's going to bother them throughout the entire year when we're talking about just training camp. So they're obviously going to play it slow, play it smart with Chris Paul Jr., but still, definitely something that's concerning for the team, but concerning for him in terms of trying to earn those starting reps, right? He's going to go up against Omar Speights, going up against Nate Landman. Can he be a starter? Can he fit in that rotation? Well, him starting, obviously, off on the bench is going to be difficult for him to kind of catch up and definitely be in the good graces of the defensive coaching staff. So we'll wait and see on that. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to be dealing with a nagging injury all season long. Is he going to play a key role for the Rams? Those are all things that we're going to have to wait on. But at this moment in time, him missing time is not great for him, not great for the linebacker room. So we're hoping he can be healthy sooner rather than later. And that's kind of just the topic of conversation for today. Not to be super negative, but, this is kind of that time of year. Okay, guys, you're getting back into football shape. You're going to see some injuries here and there. We should be okay for the most part. The Rams should be in a good spot. But when they want to win a Super Bowl, they need guys like Stafford. They need guys like Alaric Jackson. They need guys like, Chris Paul Jr. to be healthy and ready to go when it matters most towards playoff time. And that's the hope and dream for this team overall throughout the whole season. If they can make a push for a deep playoff run, is definitely the goal here for this team. Moving on from that, last but not least, trivia of the day. My favorite part of the episode. I ask a trivia question. You guys give your trivia guesses down below in the comment section. Whether you're right or whether you're wrong, we give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. Missed a couple episodes in a row. Was out of town for the weekend. But last episode's trivia of the day, we asked you all this question here. Which NFL team has never played in a Super Bowl? That was a question from last episode's trivia of the day. We had some multiple choice options, which were, was it A, Detroit Lions, B, Cleveland Browns, C, the Houston Texans, or D, all of the above? Which NFL team has never played in a Super Bowl? A few of you guys play along at home, just a couple of you guys actually, so appreciate all of you guys for commenting and playing along. Appreciate you so much. Here is a shout out on the episode here. So Earl says, too easy. D, all of the above. Bob Peterson says, all of the above. Floyd says the Detroit Lions. The correct answer was D, all of the above. None of those teams that I mentioned have been to a Super Bowl. Detroit Lions haven't, Cleveland Browns haven't, and the Houston Texans have not ever been in a Super Bowl. So definitely shout out to all of you guys for playing along, guessing at home. Floyd, we appreciate you. Bob Peterson, all of the above, correct. Earl, all of the above, correct. Appreciate you guys for playing along. If you want a more challenging one here, as Earl said, this one was too easy, maybe play along with today's episode, and hopefully it's a little more challenging than the last question. If you guys want to get a shout out just like these folks on the next episode, go ahead and comment here with this trivia of the day here. Which team drafted Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre? Obviously, maybe a little bit of a trick question if you are familiar with some of the teams he's played for. Which one of those teams drafted the Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre? Was it A, the Atlanta Falcons? Was it B, the Green Bay Packers? Was it C, the New Orleans Saints? Or was it D, the Dallas Cowboys? Which team originally drafted Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre? Was it A, the Atlanta Falcons, B, the Green Bay Packers, C, the New Orleans Saints, or D, the Dallas Cowboys? Give your guesses down below in the comment section. Whether you're right or whether you're wrong, we'll give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. Other than that, that's going to do it for me on today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, press the subscribe button now before you go so you don't miss any daily Rams content. That's going to do it for me. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I'm out.